This is Petra and Missy coming from the big picture. So today we're going to talk about intuitive energy healing. Missy and I have been friends for how many years, Miss?
38.
38 years. And our personalities and our beliefs are very similar. So we decided to do a podcast. Missy's son, Nick, recommended that the two of us do a podcast. He said, you guys basically sit around on the phone and talk or whatever, and I've been listening to you, and he listens and watches podcasts, and he recommended that we do it. He thought it would be very interesting for other people to tune into. So we thought we would give it a try. So we're going to share what intuitive energy healing means to us, and it is a practice, and how we basically a little bit of sharing about our lives and how we apply it in our lives so that we can have peace and joy and good health, all the things that we want in the midst of chaos and anything else that's going on in the world, even today. So intuitive energy healing is about feeling. My whole life, since I can remember, I always felt like I was outside of myself, a part of myself, observing everything. And I always said I had this little voice that would speak to me, and today I call that little voice my higher self. It's like your conscious, that little voice that, might say, don't do that, or, do this, and it's important to listen to that little voice because it guides us. So I have learned to tune into that and to trust it. And intuitive energy healing is about learning how to have your heart and mind be a team so they don't fight each other. And it's about being in. So many people are out all the time. Prior to today's times with everything that's going on politically, and we're not going to get into debates or any of that. That's not what this is about. I found that people were and a lot of people said this, that, people were like rushing around and they weren't in, and everybody was going, and, people talked about how, kids have no respect and blah, blah, blah. And the other day, I was out in the store and I realized that people were in, they weren't out. They were in and they were very sad. Not really even looking at anyone else, just very in and withdrawn. And I could feel it. And again, it's about feeling. So I pick up on others. That's what my intuition is. And it can be it can be a burden. My intuition is a gift, but it also can be a burden. And I struggled with it for many, many years until I learned how to apply a practice to it. So, that's the reason for us doing this podcast today, because I think the timing is really right. I think people are really struggling, and everything in the world is the unknown. Really, life is in the moment. And right now there's a lot of unknown because people, they say, I don't think we can go back to what things used to be, and I'm not saying that we should. So people are scared. But what this is about is you do have an internal home where you are always safe, where you are always protected. Now, I'm going to use the word God a lot because God is my belief system, but whatever yours is fine. I don't care if it's an oak tree in the backyard, Mother Nature, whatever it is. It's a group conscious energy. It's an energy source that we all came from and were created from. So creator, whatever you call your belief system. So, I channel, and what I'm doing even right now is channeling. So I channel from God, and I consider myself to be an instrument. And I just relay information to people. And then, trust yourself and take what you want and leave the rest. So the timing, I feel, is really appropriate right now, and that's why Missy and I are going to sit down today and really just talk. And I hope that it can give you some hope and make you realize that everything that you want, happiness or peace or joy, we're taught in society to reach outside for it. Like we all want love in a relationship. That's one thing people want. I want to love, I want to find my soulmate, blah, blah, blah. Well, the love you really want is your own, and the person you want to be able to trust is yourself. So if you don't love yourself and trust yourself, you're not going to be able to do that with anybody else. And you don't get that outside of yourself. You find that love and you find that trust within yourself. So this is a practice, and you might even want to call it work, but it's a lot of fun. This is meant to be a lot of fun. And I've watched people that I work with heal and enjoy their lives. And if they're willing to feel, it happens quickly. And it's so exciting to me, and I'm so happy for people, and I'm just really honored that I can hold a space for them and just be me, because I'm just me with this stuff. And so Missy and I are going to talk, and just whatever comes up is going to come up. Go ahead, Miss.
Well, I got into this with Petra probably about eight years ago. Good 8 years ago, if not more. But from what I can remember when I was little, I just used to observe everything and really take everything in. And I knew there was something about myself that was unique, I think I want to say. And that really, like within my own family, that I was there for them for a reason. So, like I said, just taking everything in and just observing. And everybody used to say, even my friends used to say, why don't you ever say anything? Why are you so quiet? And that's what God had me doing with working, and I guess just taking it in, observing it, and just being still. And when when Petra, when I first started working with this, with Petra, she told me how um, grounded I was. And I guess I never really saw it like that, because that's how I was always as a little girl, just grounded. And I think the observing and the just being still and quiet was actually a grounding. Like, I just feel like I came in very grounded. And that helps me with the intuitive healing. Um, and it I, just being still. And I think it helps me to channel. It helps me to guide others and help others. So when Petra talks about, when she was little, and that's what I get when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there was a reason that God put me here. And I feel like it was to help the people around me.
What I really like is the fact that you use the word unique. The minute you said that, it was like I centered up. Because when working with people that come to me, people are usually in pain. They come to me because they're hurting, whether it be the loss of someone or addiction. Addiction is a big one. Or, just not being happy with their life. They feel like their life could be more. And my whole life, I felt like there was something I was supposed to be doing and I wasn't doing it. And it actually caused me anxiety. And I don't have that feeling anymore, because now I know that I'm fulfilling my purpose, and I believe everybody has a purpose in life, and it's a calling, and it's really is, when you're aligned with it and you're doing it, it's easy. It's an alignment. So when you said that you felt unique, I totally get that, because most people that are kind of built for doing this, um, and feel like there's something missing, like a piece of the puzzle, even if your life is great. I mean, I have a great life. I have a great husband, my
Mm-hmm.
children, and I have a business that I work out of my home, but I always felt like something was missing. And it really was myself. I was missing myself. I was homesick for myself. And when you say unique, that's exactly what it is. everybody that comes to me says they felt different than their family. And I did too, just like you. I really felt like I was observing. My father used to tell me that, I was like both my great grandmothers, that I was, I was a pisser, he used to say. He used to say because I could speak up. And I think that's the one thing that we've learned, you and I, the most, is having our voice. And I'm grateful for the fact that you're in my life because you are so grounded. Grounding wasn't easy for me. You know that. I mean, my sense of feeling, and I know it's my gift, it's my greatest tool in my toolbox. I really had to learn how to embrace it and work with it because it really caused me pain, physical pain in my body. And, Missy holds a space for me with her ability to ground, and so that I can do this work, and it's the support that I need. She doesn't, tell me what to say or not to say, because that's not what energy work is about. You don't judge in energy work, and that's one of the first things. And you respect yourself is one of the things that God wants us to do right away, and to respect others. And I think that's what's so sad about right now, what's going on in the world. There's absolutely no respect. Um, so we definitely did feel different and unique, and maybe you even felt less than. Maybe some people feel less than or weird, especially people struggling with addiction. And I say that they're actually the most sensitive people that have a really strong gift. And so I'm grateful for Missy's ability to ground me, because I wouldn't be doing this today if she wasn't sitting here in this room and doing it with me. And I really enjoy her company. I always have. Um, and during this COVID pandemic, we've really spent a lot of time, talking about what's going on, and moment by moment living it and feeling it and experiencing it. And that's when her son Nick said, I think you should make yourself available to other people.
And it's funny how you said about the grounding, that you're grateful for the grounding. And you mentioned grounding and you mentioned using your voice in the same. And I'm grateful for you for allowing me the opportunity to use my voice, because I didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad you mentioned those two things at the same time. And that's where the balance comes with us.
Yep.
That's the balance.
I am 5 years older than Missy, and by trade I'm a hairstylist, and I'm self-employed in my own business. But for the first 5 years of my life, I worked in a shop, and Missy came to me to get her hair cut. And I remember one time when I was cutting her hair, this feeling came over me. And I'm sure everybody has, like almost like a deja vu feeling, people call it. And this feeling came over me, and I remember actually stopping, and I didn't say anything to her. She was just sitting there. She didn't say anything either, but this feeling came over me, like we're meant to do something. We're meant to do something together. And then I kind of excused it. At that time, I was 17, so she was like 12. So it wasn't like I was going to say, you want to go out and, go drink at the point and hang out. So now the 5 years is nothing, right? But back then, I just kind of excused it. It was like, what the heck are we supposed to do together? And now, I mean, I know that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I really believe that God's hand was on that, and God was speaking to me. And that's what intuitive energy healing is about, is listening, right? So I was afraid to listen. I mean, I really turned it off as a young kid, because I've always felt like, oh my God, what if God asks me to do something and I don't want to do it? So I was scared.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't turn it off, but I dialed it down. So, my anxiety was like a knock, knock, knock. Don't forget who you are. And Missy's ability to ground has enabled me to just come in deeper and fuller and embrace my gift. So support is really important. And there's no codependency at all. And the other thing is because we're not judging. So, when you observe, it's very different than judging. When you're judging, you've got your spin on something, you're in your mental mind, your heart and mind are not a team, and you make it a lesson. You learn a lesson from it, and lessons can be long and lengthy and hard, and it may not even be your lesson. So observing is standing back, detached from it, and just viewing it, like little kids do, right? Little kids do
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
and then choosing to stay in your flow, what I call your flow, or not.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no right or wrong with this stuff. I say all the
Mm-hmm.
time, there's no right or wrong. Absolutely. And I tell people all the time, I'm not here to fix you because you're not broken. It's about you finding your way back to yourself. Just finding your way back to yourself, into that internal home, and coming back to yourself. Because we all leave ourselves. We start off as these little kids, and we're very much in the moment. We're playing and having fun, and we're not judging anything. And then we start to take on this reality. Even the good things people say about us. Your teacher can say, "Oh, you're so smart," and then you kind of identify yourself as being smart, and we just load all of these things on ourselves, and we take on the opinions of other people.
Mm-hmm. And like you say no judgment, and that's true. It takes a practice, and you can find yourself going back there, and you know how that feeling feels, but also not taking things personally.
Yeah, it's a big
That's a
one.
big one.
Yep.
And I kind of group that a little bit with the judgment,
Mhm.
because, um, as soon as we judge, it's like we're personal about it.
Yep.
So with that, not taking it personally, you bring that. If you don't take it personally, what someone said to you is about them.
Yep.
It's not about you. And if you bring back taking it personally, more of you can come through. So, not taking it personally is what I mean. Then more of you can come through, and you don't have to judge it. You can just observe it. You can do whatever you want with it.
It's true, and you apply that in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So it is. It's that practice. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was a big one for me, not taking it personally.
Mhm.
You know, I had suffering in my life, and a lot of it I took personally. And once you showed me and guided me with not taking it personally, and just to expect it, because, it wasn't about me. It was whatever that person had going on in their life.
Mhm. It's funny because, like God said to me, um, you must respect yourself. If you're going to start this work, you must respect yourself if you're going to work with other people. And it's true because, other people are going to,
Mm-hmm.
this is not going to be for everybody. Some people are going to be like, wow, this makes sense to me. And other people are going to be like, oh my God, this is like, who they drank the Kool-Aid
Right.
is my funny thing I like to
Right.
say, right? But I don't expect it to be for everybody,
Mm-mm.
and I don't have any attachment to it at
Mm-mm.
all. We're just sharing what works for us.
Mm-hmm.
And, that taking it personal is if you take that out of it, your life is just easier. And when I work with people, I tell people, you're just pure love and light. And it's not that I'm letting them off the hook, but I try to explain to them that, you know, we're human beings and we're in this reality, which to me is really an illusion, but we won't go there. Um, you know, so human beings, just expect yourself and other people to be a mess, to be self centered, to be in survival mode at sometimes, to be judgmental, to be greedy, all of those things. Just expect it and give yourself like a free pass on it,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what being a human being is. So if you accept that, then you expect that of yourself and you expect it of other people. It doesn't mean you have to allow it in your life
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't feel good, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's always about coming back to yourself and knowing that you are the creator of your life. You get to choose what you want to feel in the moment. And it has nothing to do with anybody else. My mom always used to say, you're responsible for your own happiness in life, and others can only add happiness. And she was right.
Mm-hmm.
My mom died when I was 22. It's the biggest blow to me in my whole life. And she was 49. She passed away with melanoma, and she had all these little sayings that she used to say to me. And My one friend labeled her, she never got to see, to meet her or anything, but she labeled her the Great Riddler. So she did. She had all these like little riddles from her life experience that she would give to me. And now, as I've gotten older, they make so much sense to me.
And with what you were saying, with the with what we were saying, with the not taking it personally and all that, there are times though that things are very real, and if someone is not treating us nicely, it's not, we automatically go to judge, but we can put that judging aside and we can say this is really happening to us.
Mm-hmm.
It is
right.
real, and it's really happening.
And I actually have people shake their head up and down because it's like a message. Like you shake your head up and down. It's amazing how all of a sudden it keeps you in when you shake your head up and down. Because if something doesn't feel good, you go out. You automatically go out because you don't want to feel it. But by saying this is really happening, and shaking your head up and down, you're reassuring yourself and believing yourself and trusting yourself and respecting yourself, and you're staying in.
And it's not to disregard those moments.
Nope.
It's to feel it and decide. You have a choice. You have a choice what you want to do with that. So, and more often than not, if we are unable to feel it, really feel it, I feel like it will come around again.
Oh yeah.
It will come around again. And I've experienced that. It will come around again. So there's really a fine line between the taking it personally and feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes, and I say in this work, I call it like peeling the layers of the onion until you get to the core, and that's exactly what you're explaining. It's about releasing these energies and what people tell us who we are and our life experiences. I tell people you are not your thoughts. Thoughts and words have power, but you are not your thoughts. We have thoughts all day long. We have conversations all day long. And there's a difference when you're having a conversation with yourself. To have a conversation with yourself, your heart and mind is a team. Like I say, like we all have had this happen to us where we like drive home and we're like, oh my God, I don't even remember driving and I'm home. That is an example of you going out. So, you know, it's peeling the layers of the onion until you get to the core and facing things. And you're right. I tell people all the time, don't even really invest your time or your money into coming to see me if you're not willing to feel. And, we're not meant to do this alone. I say that all the time. We're not meant to do this alone. Human beings aren't meant to exist alone. It's very important that we have touch and, you know, to be a mirror for each other. That's what we do. We mirror each other. So you're right. If we don't, and again, there's no right or wrong with this. It's about when you're ready. And it comes back around, and it tends to get heavier each time for you to learn the lesson. And it's actually coming back around because in the deepest part of yourself, you're really ready to face it. But you don't have to face it alone.
And that's where reaching out to other light beings can really help, because that person doesn't judge it. They just listen and hold a space.
Yep.
And that's holding the space. So you're able to release what you want to release. Because you don't have to do anything.
Yep. That's right. That's another thing too. We say all the time, you don't have to do anything. Like words have power. I tell people, when people say, oh, I need to do that. And I say, wait a minute. You don't need to do anything. You can choose to. And like, it snaps them in. And I said, do you see the difference in that? Need to sounds desperate. There's pressure. It doesn't sound like fun. Saying I choose to is empowering. It's about you, and it's a decision. It's a choice.
So that's where, like, when we talk about doing the work, it seems like whenever you think of work, it seems like, like demanding. But it's that choosing to want to, that's that empowering is the work.
Yep.
And
because you have to feel in this, it just clicks and it feels right, and it feels easy because you learn to be in what I call a flow, right? You learn to be in your flow. And as human beings, we step out of our flow all the time. Like a simple example is like I love to garden, and it's my form of meditation. And like say I'm in the midst of pruning my flowers and weeding and being really in this this space of just peace and stuff, and my phone rings and somebody needs a favor and needs a ride somewhere. you know we're we're taught it's selfish if you don't do for other people, right? I mean, no, you have to say yes, right? At least I grew up that way.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And I don't have to say yes. It's to check in with yourself and say, okay. And it happens quickly when you practice this. Like, all right, imagine me stopping and going and doing that. Am I going to be resentful afterward? It's okay, because remember, you're human. Humans are allowed to do all these things. So, I can say, I'm sorry, I'm not able to. I don't have to empower that by getting into a big story, what I call the story. That's when we go out, like making up excuses, and that's, people, if you just say your truth, like, I'm sorry, I'm not able to, they normally receive it very well, and they'll say, oh, no problem, I'll call so and so. So I've learned that because my whole life I felt like I had to put others before myself. I had to put everybody else before myself. And in this work, God told me, it's God, myself, and then everybody else. Because God's love, which is the unconditional, pure love and light that we all really want, it's what we come from, flows through me and allows me to be the instrument. If I put myself last, it's like being buried and suffocated and doing the work, but really it's hard and it's not joyful, and it's not unconditional either.
And I think people can relate to the story. When you talk about the story, I was just thinking, when you talked about stepping out of your flow and saying yes when you really wanted to say no. Can you come to this meeting? Yes, I can. But in your head, you're thinking, I really don't want to go to that meeting. And when you do that, or you make people often make up an excuse. I can't do that because I have to do this that day. And then that leaves, because everybody has energy on them. So that leaves the energy open to come through and say, well, if you can't do it this day, maybe you can do it this day. And then but if you just say, I'm sorry, I'm unable to do that, that energy stops right there.
Yeah.
And you're staying in your flow.
And you're being truthful.
You are.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
But when you go into an excuse, which people can relate to,
Yep.
when you go into an excuse, the energy comes around and tries to sweep you in another way.
Yep. And the important thing is to know, because and in that moment, when you're faced with, okay, do I choose them or me? You're feeling. Oh, are you feeling? So most people, if something doesn't feel good, they want to go out. They don't want to feel it. Where you and I, ever since we can remember, we stayed with it. And very often we chose them over us. And we hurt inside.
Yes.
We really hurt inside.
Because we really didn't want to do that
Nope.
stuff.
And we disrespected ourselves, and we left ourselves. This is something I teach people, and I remind myself of. It's about not leaving yourself. We leave ourselves all the time. Even if something is good, sometimes we don't feel worthy of it. If somebody gives us a compliment, we shirk it. Oh, no, I'm not pretty. But, that's leaving yourself. Rather than staying and feeling the love or the compliment, whatever it is that somebody's giving you. You don't have to take it in and believe it, but stay with yourself. Stay with yourself when things are uncomfortable. If you stay with yourself and allow yourself to feel it, energy is a vibration. That's all it is a vibration. And like you said, Missy, energy is on everyone. Everything's made of energy. So if you allow yourself to feel it, just like water, if you stay fluid, it passes through you. And then the next vibration comes. And, you don't get stuck.
Because when you're stuck, you really feel like you can feel when you start to do this work, and it's empowering work. What I mean is by empowering work, you can feel your vibration lower, and you don't have to go down to that lower vibration. What you want really is to stay at a higher vibration. So once you feel yourself doing that, it's like, okay, I know I'm doing this, and you can turn it around.
Mm-hmm.
Because you learn to feel what that feels like, and you remember that feeling, and you don't like that feeling.
Yep.
So you can turn it back around for yourself. It's not like, oh, I decided that, now I can't. No, you can.
Mm-hmm.
You can use your voice. You can say, you know what? I remember feeling like this, and I don't really want to do this. So I'm going to call this person, or I'm going to have a conversation with this person. I'm going to say, you know what? I just can't do this right now.
And that's having your voice.
Right.
And what happens too is, for myself, and I know with other people, is this is where addiction comes in. Because because you feel like you left yourself and you're actually hurting, you don't want to feel that way. And, you know, my addiction is sugar, food, but primarily sugar, and spending. I have done all kinds of work on it. I've read tons of books. I've gone to therapy, and I've been in 12-step programs, and they're all wonderful because you're not meant to do this work alone. So that's great. But, they tend to say that you turn to an addiction to escape. And for me, that's not what it is. I turn to that source, that you know, that spending or that eating. It is a feeling that comes over you, that gives you a boost or a high, if you want to call it that. But it's because your vibration is so low in that moment that you're actually hurting, that you're just trying to find a way to come back to yourself. But then you've got this energy of feeling crappy about yourself, and for me it's like what I call the self-loathing, and the critical voice comes in and tells me, ugh, here you are again, and blah blah blah. So it just spins, and then I'm out, and then I'm in the story. So when I work with people with addiction, like I said, they're very sensitive souls. They're very intuitive. And somewhere along the way, they got labeled in their families, or, I was bullied, terrible, somewhat in my family, but, mostly like in school and stuff. I was overweight, and kids used to spit at me on the bus and call me fat and right on my locker, and it's, I never took it in. I just always observed it.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about how we always observed.
Mm-hmm.
I just always observed it. But then when I came home, I binged.
Mm-hmm.
I binged because I had all of this stuff on me, all of their, like you said in the beginning, all the stuff that was about them that they projected onto
Mm-hmm.
me. Because intuitive people are like
Mm-hmm.
sponges. So it was like I'd come home to that food, and I thank that food today, because that sugar, I mean, it was there for me. I could count on it. And I never told my parents. I
Mm-hmm.
never told my parents what I lived with day in and day out. Never told them. And they would have done something for me. I had great parents. They would have
Mm-hmm.
gone to the school. They would have
Mm-hmm.
addressed it for me. But I just didn't feel like it was. I never even thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess because I'm not, maybe in the deepest part of myself, I would have felt like I was handing something over to them that really I never judged it. My parents would have judged it. They
Yeah.
would have really judged it. They would have had nothing to do with me feeling like, oh, they're gonna go to school and they're gonna do this, and then the
No.
kids are gonna even be meaner to me. It
No.
wasn't that.
No.
It was just, I think, because I wasn't really judging it, I was just feeling it, and it happened for a reason, like we
Mm-hmm.
say. It gives me the ability to be able to really feel for a person that has been, treated poorly.
Mm-hmm.
And now I realize today that, when I got on that bus, we talk about being a certain vibration. They felt it. They didn't like themselves.
Right.
They were threatened by me.
Mm-hmm.
I had a presence. I knew who I was.
Mm-hmm.
I have always liked myself.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love myself. I thought loving myself was like going and having a pedicure. And today I truly can say I love myself, and I respect myself, and I know who I am, and I
Mm-hmm.
can feel who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't regret my past. But, when I work with people with addiction, I remind them, you don't need to be fixed. You're not broken. You're just hurting. You're hurting. You're holding in so much stuff that has been projected to you. You're feeling the weight of the world. Like, just the other day being in Target, if I was feeling that, oh my gosh, I could have came home and had such a binge when I looked at
Mm-hmm.
all those people
Mm-hmm.
that were in. But I'm glad that they were in.
Right.
They're not out. They're
Mm-hmm.
in, and they're feeling. So they have the opportunity to just go, I'm going to detach from all of this external world of like the political stuff and the fear of the COVID coronavirus, and I'm going to detach with that. I'm going to come back to me, because it all starts with me. Let me take care of me and get in
Mm-hmm.
and feel this feeling of sadness. But again, we're not meant to do it alone.
Mm-hmm. And you say with your addiction, I was constantly enabling people, constantly enabling,
Yeah.
and letting them really walk all over me.
Yeah.
And that's what I felt, because, like you say, bringing it back to when we were younger and how we always felt like we were put last. We put ourselves last.
Yep.
So this enabling, and it was just, I would enable knowing that it was not right to do so for the people closest to me, and then self-loathe. It was just self-loathing. Why did you do that?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have done that. And it was because there was an uncomfortable vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, even the people in my own household, it's enabling, and then you feel it and you're like, I understand what that feeling feels like. And sometimes it's in my flow to do it, because you can really get carried away with it. But sometimes it's in my flow to do it, and then I know most of the time it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is the enabling.
But I don't think when you say, I'm not contradicting you, but I don't want people to think that when you say sometimes it's in your flow to do it, you don't enable anymore.
I don't.
I think that, like, it's an example of, like, say they say don't do something for somebody that they can do for themselves. All right, but that's kind of like drastic. So, like somebody says, can you make a doctor's appointment for me that they can do for themselves, but you stop and you go, you know what, I'm going to do this for
That's
them.
what I
Let me
mean.
give them a break.
And if somebody in my own household says, can I use your car for this? If it's in my flow,
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
It's something very simple. Not the enabling that was huge from before.
Yep.
Because it's
Yep.
I've learned not to do that.
And the like the self-loathing critical voice of mine, I know that's not, there's a difference when energy's coming from outside of you and inside of you. So, that higher self, that little voice is within me and it speaks to me. That self-loathing critical voice is outside of me and it's actually like poking at me. But, it doesn't feel good, so you don't want to feel it and you want to push it away. Make it go away. Oh God, make it go away. However, it's not there to be mean to you. It's actually there to say, it cares about you. So, it's kind of like it's saying, are you doing your best? Are you listening to yourself? It's giving you like a barometer to show you where you're at in your life,
Mm-hmm.
and
you learn to recognize that.
you do, because you're
Mm-hmm.
willing to feel it,
Mm-hmm.
But it's not you. You learn it's not you, but you also learn it's the opportunity to stop and to say, wait, what am I doing? So that you stay conscious, because being conscious is very important, I mean, we really go unconscious, but that's what human beings do, and we're meant to do that.
And the ability to just pause for a minute. Just pause and listen.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to. I'm trying to think of an example. You don't have to answer somebody right away.
Yeah.
You don't have to. Like, pause and feel it and really say, okay, is it in my best interest to do this? Not in an egotistical way. Do I want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Or do I want to, should I not do this? Not in a negative way, but just to pause, because like you say, it's God, then you, and God wants us to respect ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, are we in this moment, are we respecting ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of goes with your flow.
And the funny part of it is the people closest to you that really love you want you to do that.
Yes.
And you teach people, because people that are very, very intuitive, we're not better than other people. There's no such thing as I'm better than you or you're better than me. But we are more conscious. I like to say we're more spiritually conscious. We came in more conscious and willing. It's a purpose. It's a calling. And other people are our greatest teachers. We're all here to have an effect on one another for the big picture. The big
Mm-hmm.
picture.
Mm-hmm.
The big picture, which I also channeled, right? One day we
Yes.
were trying to come up with a
Yeah.
name, and I think Nick was saying, he was Googling intuitive energy work
Mm-hmm.
and all this, and he said, that's taken, that's taken. And I said, well, it's not really about me. It's not really about us. It's about the big picture. And it was
And
like,
that's it.
woo, that's it, right? The big picture. But we are part of the big picture, right? So it's exciting, and people don't know what their vibration feels like because we all have a vibration. So it's teaching people what they feel like, and so when they come to see me, I concentrate on them. Like I intuitively concentrate on them because the minute somebody comes in my space, and even beforehand, I actually feel them. And I also feel these energies
Yeah.
that are on them.
Mm-hmm.
And I tune into both the person and the energies, and I start getting a reading right away. And I back the energy off with love, because everything and everyone wants love, God's love. And I start channeling for them,
Mm-hmm.
and they're able then to feel if they choose to, because the energy is not as strong. Um, and then they're able to release these energies. And when you release an energy, it's kind of like an umbilical cord. You're releasing it, and then there's more room in your body, which is your vehicle, like your car that gets your spirit around. There's more room for your spirit to be in, and then you start really feeling what your spiritual self feels like, what your vibration feels like. And then the more you do this, if you wake up in the morning and you're feeling grumpy and you have no idea why, you can stop and you can say, wait a minute, is this me? And then get yourself in and get yourself grounded. And it doesn't have to take a long time. Like you said, in the moment. Get in the moment. Because otherwise, if you listen to that and say, oh, I'm grouchy, you can just, the whole day can get heavier and heavier and heavier. And you can be putting that energy out and affecting other people. And that's not right or wrong. It's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
for me, I don't like the way it feels.
Mm-mm.
So I don't
No.
want to participate with it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I say to that energy, you know what? I know you're here to teach me. I know you're here to teach me that I have a voice and I have the ability to feel this or not. But get out of my space. And then I go back to me.
Mm-hmm.
Heart and mind a team, present in the moment.
And when we feel like that, we can always reach out to somebody else.
Yes, that's what we're not meant to do it alone.
Right. We're not meant to do it alone. We reach out to somebody else. And at that time, when that person, and I know I've often had this feeling with you, like when I reach out to you and I'm in a not so good space and I'm talking myself, I'm like, I can actually hear myself talking and then pretty much figure it out on my own
Yeah.
because you're holding a space.
Yeah.
So it's like you talk your way through it, and when you listen, when you have that ability to listen to yourself speaking, it's like, okay, and you just held the space. You didn't say a word.
Yeah, and in holding the space, what I teach people in the classes, because I do one-on-one intuitive energy healing, and that's usually for people that are like really hurting and in crisis, but then the classes are for people that want to continue and learn about this. So when you hold a space, there's no judging, there's no feeling like you have to fix something, and it's very easy to take something on just by, oh, you poor thing. That's taking it on, and there's a little judgment in that. So I teach people when I see them do that, I'll stop and say, wait a minute, don't take it on, just hold a space. Watch it like a movie, just view it. And then when you do that, you are being a channel of love and light. You're being the instrument and just, lessening the load for the person so that they can process it. Process it by getting in and being their heart and mind a team and being willing to feel once again. So that is really providing a person with a space of love so that they can continue in this journey to find themselves. And we're not here to fix and take stuff on for other people because it's not helping them. We're all here to have an experience. We're here to experience for God and to learn how to come home to ourselves, like heaven on earth. And you can have heaven on earth.
Mm-hmm.
You can have heaven on earth.
Yeah, and it is a. I like how you said it's not helping them by taking things on for them, because it's really, and I learned this when I would enable, I would not allow the people around me to grow.
You rob them, right?
Yes. You rob them of your life, and you are actually playing God.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. And with playing God, that's not my place to play God.
Right.
So it's robbing them of the way they need to grow, or they choose to grow. They don't need to do anything, but they're choosing to grow, and restricting them.
Yep. And this is where the light bulb analogy comes in, because I try to explain to people, like we're all, as far as a vibrational thing, we're all like a light bulb. So there's a 100-watt light bulb and a 50-watt light bulb. One's not better than the other. You want to be able to read and it's dark, you're going to turn, you're going to flick the switch on for the 100-watt light bulb. If you want to have an intimate dinner and romantic, you're going to switch the 50-watt light bulb on. But they have a different vibration. So typically, what I've been shown is that if a 100-watt light bulb person and a 50-watt light bulb person is in the space, it's normally the 100-watt light bulb is more conscious, spiritually conscious. So they automatically dip down. And that starts to take a toll. So I want to say that, it's about having balance in relationships. And when I say balance, I don't mean tit for tat. A balanced relationship could be somebody giving 85%, or 80%, the other person giving 20%, and their 20% is equivalent to your 80% because that person, that's what they're able to give. But if it flows and doesn't drain you, that's okay. But if you're in the space of somebody that, you are holding the space for them and they don't want to do the work, you don't have to punish yourself and keep yourself there. It's about saying, you know what? They don't want to do the work and I'm not enjoying this. It's not even about enjoying the relationship. You're just not enjoying the vibration that you're in with this person. So you can let them go because it's you want. It's your love that you want. And it's not being mean, because I always had this thing where I can't leave people behind. I can't leave people behind. And then somebody said to me, it might even been you, you're not leaving anybody behind. They're not wanting to do the work.
Right.
I think it was you.
Yeah.
And that really helped me because I don't want to hurt people. I really don't want to hurt people. I'm not a saint, but I don't want to hurt people.
But you're also respecting yourself.
You're right. So, that 50-watt light bulb has the opportunity to raise its vibration. So that's the choice. I don't feel like God puts us here to be an instrument, to be a saint. I like to have a lot of fun. I mean, I want to enjoy life. I don't, expect perfection for myself at all. Like I told you, I've learned over the past few years to expect myself to be a hot mess and laugh. Thank God I am able to laugh at myself.
But with the light bulb analogy, like you said earlier, we are no better than anybody else, and we just choose to really love this life.
Yeah.
And be an instrument
moment by moment
for God.
too. Moment by moment.
Yeah. And live in the present. Our past was our past, and it's taught us.
Right, but you know how I always say that it all comes back around? Like what spirit has shown me is that time is not linear. It actually goes around like in a cycle, like it's cyclical, it comes around and around and around. And to me that's why there's patterns. We develop patterns, and that's what the patterns are, energy, and we have the choice to work on them or not. And so time, our past really is happening at the same time as right now. But our past is there to not to judge, right? It all happened for a reason, and like your favorite saying, it is what it is.
It is what it is. And I always say, what am I meant to learn from this? What is the meaning of this?
Yeah. And we've always done that.
Yeah.
Time we were little.
Yeah.
That's what kept us grounded. We knew, even if we were suffering, we knew, like, why am I supposed to be doing? We just never disconnected from that source that we came from. Aren't you proud of us? Like, I am proud of us. I'm grateful for that.
I am very grateful for that.
Yeah.
And I would not want to live life any other way.
Me either. But I get so much joy from sharing it with other people. I'm really not attached if somebody believes in it. I'm not attached if they want to do it or not. I am very sensitive. So if somebody criticizes this, I'm going to feel that. But again, it's not about me. It's not, it is about me, but it's not about me. I know who I am, and I'm not going to judge them or take it personal because that,
It's their life.
it's their life. Exactly. Exactly. But, I've watched people that I've worked with, they're really appreciative of what I'm able to do to help them so that they're not in pain anymore and they're living their best life, creating the life that they want. And I've learned how to receive that. And a lot of people tell me I have a gift. And I was never comfortable with that because I believe that everybody has a gift, that everybody has intuition. I'm not special, but I do think I'm brave, and I do think I'm courageous, and I do think I'm willing to put myself out there, and not everybody is willing to do that. It's kind of like being a prophet and being stoned to death. And I felt like, as a kid, that's basically what all those years of getting on the bus or school being bullied was like. They couldn't break me. They couldn't break me. I just felt it and viewed it, and it helped me to be where I am today. So there was a purpose for it. So now today I can actually look back and thank them. They were my greatest teachers. However, I don't want to go out and hang out
No.
with them. I'm
Right.
not holding resentments. I was. Years ago,
Right.
I was holding a resentment. But I let that pain go. But I told myself, oh, I will stay with you. And if I start feeling that from somebody else, oh no, you're not going to disrespect yourself. And that feels good.
Yes, it does. And that's with any feeling.
Yep.
Any feeling, you learn to realize how, if you're willing to feel it,
Yep.
you know how that feeling feels.
Yep.
And then you have a choice.
And again, the feeling is vibrations, which is energy.
And you recognize that. You
Yes,
learn
you
to
do.
recognize it, and you learn to say, listen, do I want this or do I not want this?
Yep.
And it's not judgment.
Yep.
It's listening to your intuition.
Yep. And people see that in the classes. They see it on each other. They'll say, oh, I see how her face softened. Well, the face softening, you're seeing energy, right? You're seeing energy.
Right.
So, when people tell me I have a gift, I've learned to say, thank you. All right, I'll think of it as a gift. But, I really feel and believe that I'm not really teaching, because people have said to me, you're a teacher, you're a guide, and you have to understand that, and they mean it with really good intention. And because I never knew really how to label this work or describe it, because you have to experience it. Like right now, people, we're giving you the opportunity to listen and experience it, and I think that's why we're supposed to do this, and why Nick encouraged us. And I mean, he's only how old?
25.
25. And I mean, he's a very old soul. So thank you, Nick. But I've learned that, okay, I'll consider it healing, but it's God's healing. It's God coming through me, and I am an instrument. So I kind of lost my train of thought here. I've never been afraid of failure, but I've been scared to death of success my whole life. And that's when the addiction stuff came in, playing small. And that nagging feeling of there's something I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm supposed to do it. And for me, what I do is I share with people what comes through me, the wisdom, my life experience. I channel for them information that wakes them up if they want to listen and if they want to feel with body, mind, and spirit, so that they can reconnect and come home to themselves and wake up, because we really have all of this within us. You're brought down here with it, and we just lose it, and we're meant to be able to come back to like the glory of ourselves and feel who we are. And that's the God part of us. That's that vibration of coming home. So I'm really just waking you up to come alive and break away from this reality and learn how to be in both your internal home and your external home, because it's a balance. But you already know everything. It's just you've forgotten. And because Missy and I have always been so willing to stay with ourselves, no matter how hard it got, no matter how much suffering and burden it was, that we're able to share this with other people. And I really hope that, is it good? Okay. I really hope that today you can take something away from this and know that you're perfect, and that the love you really want is your own, and that, you know, you can trust yourself. So listen. Just listen to yourself.
And it's huge to say, like you said earlier, no, you're not broken.
No, you're not broken. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.